Hello my dear students. In this video we are going to discuss about one of the most important topic of management science or operations research, that is inventory management. In this particular video we are going to discuss the introductory part of this topic, and we would also discuss about some basic concepts which are related with inventory management. As we know that inventories are very vital or important for the functioning of any manufacturing or retailing organization. The efficiency of any organization is dependent on managing the inventories of the organization. So first of all, we need to understand the meaning of inventory. Inventory is any resource that is stored in an organization to satisfy current or future needs. These are of great importance for the smooth functioning or successful functioning of the organization. The inventories may include raw material, work in progress, finished products, or spare parts. In other words, we can say that inventories include any product or item that is stocked in the organization to satisfy current or any future need of the organization. Whatever may be the inventory of the organization, they need efficient management, as a large chunk of the funds are invested in these items. So to minimize the investment in the inventories, they should be efficiently managed by the managers. If we talk about an organization, there's a problem that the objectives of the different departments towards level of inventory are generally inconsistent. For example, if we talk about the sales department of any organization would desire for a large stock of the finished goods so that it can meet any level of demand in future. If the level of demand in future rises above the average level of demand, then it can be met if we have large stock of finished goods in our stock. Second, if we talk about the production department, production manager would also desire for a large stock of raw materials to avoid an interruption in production process in future. In case if sales department desire large quantity of finished goods from the production department, then production department can increase the level of production if it has raw materials in the stock. Thirdly, if we talk about the finance department, then the objective of the finance department would be inconsistent if compared with the objectives of the sales department or production department. The finance department would seek to minimize the funds that are blocked in inventory to reduce the cost of capital or to reduce the opportunity cost. So in turn, the finance department wants to reduce the stock levels or the inventory stored in the department or in the organization. So as we can see that different departments have different objectives when it comes about the level of inventories stored or stocked in the organization. So to strike out a balance between these inconsistent objectives of different departments, we need inventory management, or there comes the need of inventory management. Basically, inventory management refers to the activities or processes that are adopted by an organization or the managers for ordering and storing the inventories with the objective of minimization of the total costs. So there are different terms that are used in this definition. Like inventory management consists different activities or processes. So inventory management is a combination of different activities or processes that are adopted by any organization for ordering. In ordering, the managers have to decide different levels of order or different order levels in the inventory and different storing or stock levels in the inventory with the objective of minimization of total costs. So total cost means the sum of ordering costs and carrying costs. We would discuss about these terms as we proceed in this video. So basically, the core objective of inventory management is to minimize the total cost that is incurred or occurred in the management of the inventories in an organization. And basically there are two parts of total cost. One is ordering cost and another one is the carrying cost. Let's discuss about the key factors that are involved in inventory management. So first key factor is the demand. As we are operating under conditions of uncertainty, then there can be uncertainty in the amount of quantity demanded in a particular time period. The demand can be higher than the average level of demand, or it can be lower than the average level of the quantity demanded. So there is uncertainty about the level of demand or quantity demanded in a particular time period. So in that case we need inventory management. Similarly, if you talk about suppliers, there is also some kind of uncertainty when it comes to the suppliers. There can be variations or uncertainty about the time taken in processing of an order or the discounts given by the suppliers on the quantity ordered by a company. So these are uncertain things. Similarly, there can be uncertainty about the delivery time or the lead time. It denotes the time taken by the company to deliver an order. So if there are some deviations from average delivery time, in that case we need inventory management to handle those deviations. Fourth one is the production process. In most of the cases, the working rates of the men and machines vary in every organization, and the number of stages included in production process also vary organization to organization. So there is an uncertainty about the working rates, number of stages in the process. So in that case we also need the inventory management. And the fifth point is the inventory itself. In what kind of inventory the organization is dealing is very important to do the management of the inventories. The inventories can be work in progress, it can be finished goods, or it can be the raw material. So what is the kind of inventory that we are dealing in would affect the activities and procedures adopted by the inventory manager. So there can be different types of inventories. It can be raw materials that are purchased but not processed, work in progress, which the raw material which has undergone some changes but not completed or not converted into the finished product. Third type can be maintenance, repairing or operating type of inventories, which are necessary to keep machinery and the production process productive or working or in working condition. The last type that can be, it is finished goods, the goods which are completed and awaiting for the shipment. So the inventory of an organization can include any of these type of inventories. Let's discuss about some purposes of keeping inventories. Why an organization keeps inventories in its stock. The first purpose is that denotes movement inventories. These are also known as transit or pipeline inventories. As we know that if we want to transfer inventories from one place to another place, then it takes a significant amount of time in transportation. And during the transportation of these inventories, there cannot be any direct or indirect use of these inventories into production process. In other words, we can say that the inventories which are in transport or which are in transit cannot be used for any activity related with production or meeting the demand of the customers. So to continue the production process, we need to store or we need to stock movement inventories in our stocks. The second type of inventories is the buffer inventories or safety stocks. The safety stocks or buffer inventories are generally used as a safety cushion against the uncertainties in demand and supply. In some situations, the demand or supply of the products may not go in a planned way or may deviate from their average levels. Such situations are handled by using the buffer inventories or safety stocks. In other words, we can say that surplus inventories or buffer inventories are surplus inventories that are kept in excess of those inventories which are necessary to meet the average demand during the average lead time period. So lead time basically denotes the delivery time that is taken by the suppliers to deliver the ordered units. Third purpose of inventory management can be the anticipation of the variation in demand. Such inventories are held or kept in stock to anticipate the high future demands. And generally, in case of seasonal goods, we use or we stock anticipation inventories. The core idea or the basic logic behind holding these inventories is to smoothen the production process by reducing the excessive overtime that takes place in peak season or season of peak demand of a particular product and reducing the idle time of the system that took place in the off season of the product. These inventories are kept while in production of specialized goods like the production of crackers, the production of umbrella, or the production of raincoats. The demand of these products are very high in a particular season and very low or approximately equal to zero in off seasons. So to smoothen the production process in case of seasonal goods, we need to stock the anticipation inventories in the organization. The fourth type of inventories are decoupling inventories. As we know that in an organization, the different parts of a production system like machines, people may work at a different rate or their rate of working can be different. So decoupling inventories are kept to manage the different work rates of machines and people of the organization. And to handle the breakdowns in the system, we also need decoupling inventories. We can understand the concept of decoupling inventories with this example. It shows the production process of Toyota company. As we can see that the production process consists three stages. Stage 1, that is body processing of the car. Second stage, that is the painting of the car. And third one is the assembly of the car. Now, if you look at these three steps of the production, suppose there are three different people or three different machines working at each stage. In other words, we can say that for body processing, there is a different staff or different machinery. For painting, again there is a different staff or a different group of people and machineries. And similarly at third stage, a different group of people and different group of machines. Suppose the painting staff paints 10 cars per hour in this production process, and the body processing staff processes 5 cars in an hour. There is a breakdown at stage 1. The machine at stage 1 is not working due to any reason. Then there would be no processing of the cars at stage 1, and there would be no supply of the cars for stage 2 and similarly for stage 3. So due to failure of one machine at stage 1, the whole process of production would stop working. And even if the working rate is equal of all the machineries at 3 stages, in that case as well, if machine 1 doesn't work at stage 1, then there would be no supply of the cars for stage 2 and stage 3. So due to failure at one stage, the whole process of production would stop working. So to overcome these situations, what we need to do, we need to store some units between stage 1 and stage 2. We need to store some units between stage 1 and stage 2. That means we need to store some cars which have gone through the stage 1, which are stored at this place between stage 1 and stage 2. So in case if machine 1 or stage 1 broke down, in that case even the stage 2 would continue working, because there are enough cars available between stage 1 and stage 2 that are already have gone through the stage 1. Similarly, we need to store some units between stage 2 and stage 3. Between stage 2 and stage 3, we would assemble or we would stock those cars which have gone through stage 1 and stage 2, means body processing and painting. So if these units do not work or broke down due to any reason, even in that case the stage 3 would continue its working, because we have cars in our inventory which have gone through already, which have already gone through stage 1 and stage 2. So the basic purpose behind using decoupling inventories is to decouple or disintegrate different stages of the production, so that in case of breakdown, the production system continue its work. Now we would discuss key terms that are used in inventory management. The first term that is used very commonly in inventory management is lead time. Lead time denotes the average delivery time or the time consumed between placing an order and having the goods in stock ready for use. Or in other words, we can say that the lead time denotes the time between placement and receipt of the order. The second term is reorder level. So reorder point at which the amount of units in stock is equal to the demand during the lead time would be known as reorder level. For example, in this graph, Q represents the quantity ordered in a single order. So the vertical axis of this graph denotes the quantity ordered in a single order, and it is denoted by Q. And suppose the value of Q is equal to 1000 units. And the x-axis or the horizontal axis of this graph denotes the time period. We are considering a case where the reorder level with zero lead time. We are considering a case in which the lead time or delivery time is equal to 0, or we will receive the units of the product immediately after placing the order. So with this assumption, suppose in a single order we are placing an order for Q units, that is equal to 1000 units, and with the time the inventory level decreases from 1000 to 0 units. Remember, in this case we are taking lead time that is equal to 0. So we would receive our order in 0 time. Although it is not possible practically, but theoretically we are assuming that lead time is equal to 0. Initially, at this point we place an order for 1000 units and immediately we received 1000 units. And suppose we are taking the case for 1 month, for the time period of 1 month, the quantity demanded in a production process is equal to 1000 units in a particular month. So in the starting of the month we placed an order for 1000 units and immediately received the order. With the time, the level of the inventory in stock would reduce from 1000 to 0 to this point. So again, at this point, when the units in stock are equal to 0, we again need to place an order for 1000 units, and immediately we would receive the order of 1000 units, and the stock would rise from 0 to 1000, from 0 to 1000. So in this case, this point represents the reorder level. It is the level of the stock at which the company needs to place a fresh order for the inventories. In this case, as the lead time is equal to 0, so we need to place an order when the stock is equal to 0, because the lead time is equal to 0. So we would place the order at this point. The third term that is used very commonly in inventory management is the safety stock. Safety stock represents the surplus inventories that are kept in excess of those necessary to meet the average demand during the average lead time period. To understand it in a better way, let us suppose that the quantity demanded in a month of 30 days is equal to 900 units, and the lead time is equal to 3 days. It means after placing an order, it would take 3 days to receive the order from the supplier. So the lead time is equal to 3 days. Then what would be the reorder level? Reorder level denotes the amount of units in stock that is equal to the demand during the lead time. In this case, the lead time is equal to 3 days. And in a month of 30 days, the total quantity demanded is equal to 900 units. So the demand for a single day would be equal to 900 divided by 30, that is equal to 30 units. So 30 units are required for a single day. As the lead time is equal to 3 days, then the reorder level would be equal to requirement for 1 day multiplied by 3, that is 30 into 3 equal to 90 units. So reorder level would be equal to 90 units. If we have more than 90 units in our stock, then the additional units would be known as safety stock. For example, let us suppose that in this graph, the vertical axis denotes the quantity demanded in a particular month, that is equal to 900 units. This particular point denotes the reorder level. In our case, the lead time is equal to 3 days, that is denoted by this section of the graph. So the reorder point is equal to 90 units. So at this particular point, if the stock reached to the level of 90 units, then we place an additional order to refill the stock. So the amount left in the stock, if it is equal to 90 units, that is equal to 90 units. So this row represents 90 units that are required for the lead time. Now this additional amount denotes the safety stock, the stock that is additional to the reorder level, or that is additional to the quantity demanded in the lead time. So this section denotes the reorder level, and this section denotes the safety stock that is additional to the reorder level in an inventory system. After reaching to this point, we would receive our order, and the inventories in the stock would rise up to the maximum level, that is equal to 900 units. So we can say that in normal situations we would not require to use this stock, that it is the additional stock in the inventory. We would not need to use this stock. But in unusual circumstances, when due to any reason the lead time crosses the average time period, in our case the average time period is equal to 3 days. In case if it increases to the 4 days due to any reason, due to any natural calamity, or due to the blockage of a particular way, in that case, if we don't receive our order on time, then what would happen? The inventory kept in stock, that is equal to reorder level, would be used completely, and after that our production process would stop or would not be able to work. So to anticipate these type of situations, we have some extra amount of the stock or units in our stock. That is known as safety stock. Suppose the safety stock is equal to the units required for 2 days or equal to 60 units. If our delivery gets delayed by 1 day, then we can use the 30 units from the safety stock. Or if it is delayed by 2 days, then we can use the 60 units from the safety stock. Our production process would be continued even in that case. So to anticipate any delay in delivery time, we need to keep additional stock in our inventory, that is known as safety stock. The third important term that is used in inventory management is economic order quantity. It is the optimal order quantity which denotes the optimal number of units placed in an order, which minimizes the total cost of inventory. That includes ordering cost, holding cost, stock out cost, or other costs. So economic order quantity is that optimal quantity which minimizes the total cost of inventory. In this graph, the curve of total cost, holding cost, and ordering cost are drawn. It is the total cost curve, it is the holding cost curve, and this one is the ordering cost curve. The point at which holding cost and ordering cost curve cut each other denotes the minimum cost on the total cost curve. And the quantity represented in front of this cross section of holding cost curve and ordering cost curve is known as the economic order quantity. So in this case it is equal to 500 units. So in inventory management, the focus of the managers is to minimize the total cost, and it can be done only by reducing the holding cost and ordering cost up to that level in which the holding cost is equal to ordering cost, as at this point the holding cost is equal to ordering cost. So in inventory management, the purpose of calculating economic order quantity is to reduce the total cost of the inventory management. There are different types of inventory costs that need to be considered while applying any technique of inventory management. The first type of inventory costs is the purchase cost or production cost. Nominal cost or purchase price of the goods bought from the suppliers, and the production cost denotes if the goods are produced within the organization, then the cost incurred on those units is known as production cost. So when the units are procured from the outside, it is known as purchase cost, and when they are produced within the organization, then it is known as production cost. So the purchase cost or production cost may be constant per unit or may vary with the quantity purchased or produced. If there are quantity discounts, then it may vary with the quantity purchased or produced. The second type of inventory cost is ordering cost or setup cost. Ordering cost or procurement cost is incurred when items are bought from outside source. It includes the processing and chasing of the purchase order costs, transportation costs, inspection costs, and expediting overdue orders. So these are different types of costs that are clubbed under the head ordering cost. And in case if the units are produced within the organization, then it would be known as the setup cost, and it would include the cost of developing the production schedules and resources used in making production system ready. The third type of cost is the carrying cost. That is the one second most important cost used in inventory management, carrying cost or holding cost. It is also known as storage cost. It shows the cost of storing a single unit of product in inventory. It is consistent with the quantity stored and time over which it is stored. It means if larger number of large quantity of the units are stored, then it would be higher, and if it is stored for a longer time, again it would be higher. So carrying cost is directly proportional to the quantity stored and the time duration for which it is stored. It includes the cost of capital invested in stock, direct storing costs like salary of storekeeper, heating, lighting, cold storage, racking, protective clothing, and transport within the store. Further, it includes scrapping or rework costs, fire and general insurance costs. So these are different types of costs that are clubbed under the head carrying cost or holding cost. The fourth type of cost is the stock out cost or shortage cost. Stock out means there are not enough units in the stock to fulfill the demand of the production system or the customers. If stock out is internal means there are no enough units of raw material that is required for the production. So it would result in the idle time of the men and machines and would fetch the penalty for delaying the work. If this stock out is external, that means if we are not able to fulfill the demand of the customers, then it would result into the loss of sales, loss of goodwill, or some other costs. So these are different types of costs that are headed under or that are clubbed under ordering cost factors and carrying cost factors. After discussing all the basic aspects related with inventory management, now we would discuss about the fundamental decisions that are taken under inventory management. So the first decision that need to be taken under inventory management is what should be the optimal order quantity. That is how much to order in a single order, or what would be the order size while doing the inventory management. The second important question is when should be the order be placed, or what should be the reorder level point or reorder level or point in inventory management. The third important question that seeks answer from the inventory managers is that how many units should be kept as safety stock, or what should be the level of safety stock, how much units are kept as safety stock. Safety stock basically represents the units that are kept in excess of those necessary to meet the average demand during the average lead time period. So these are different decisions or different questions that need to be answered while using all the basic aspects that we have discussed in this particular video. And to answer these inventory management decision questions, there are different inventory management systems that are followed. So basically there are two main inventory management systems. First one is fixed order quantity system or reorder level system. It is also known as queue system. The basic feature of this system is that the size of the order is fixed in this system, and the order is placed as soon as the stock reach to the reorder level or reorder point, although the time of the placing of the order is not fixed or determined under this system. So basic characteristics of this system is that the order size is fixed, but the time of placing order is not determined. The second inventory management system that is followed is periodic review system. In this system, unlike the fixed order quantity system, the intervals in which the order is placed is fixed, are fixed, or it follows the fixed intervals of time. Time of reordering is fixed, but the size of the order is not fixed. So unlike fixed order quantity system, the order size is not fixed under periodic review system, but the time period of placing or time intervals of placing the orders are fixed. So in next videos we will discuss fixed order quantity system in detail. Thank you.